The Dog and Deuce Show is produced by Dymar Productions in association with Studio B Productions.
Quarantined in a secret bunker somewhere in Salt Lake City. This is Dog and Deuce. The 10-part Michael Jordan documentary premiered on ESPN last weekend. We'll react to the first 2 episodes. Plus, Gronk and Brady are back together, the NFL draft is here, and we'll do a round of Would You Rather Sports Edition. All that and much more coming up on Dog and Deuce number 323.
From Studio B in Salt Lake City, this is Dog and Deuce. Join the conversation at doganddeuce.com or send an email to doganddeuce@gmail.com.
Welcome to episode 323 of the Dog and Deuce Show. Want to know more? We sure hope you do. Follow along with the show notes at doganddeuce.com. We would love to hear from you. Send us an email at doganddeuce@gmail.com. I'm Dog.
And I'm Deuce.
And this is episode 323. We got another special guest this week. The one and only, the Hemorrhoid is back on the show. Nate, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. What's up? Or hey, gals, as well.
I just want to say you really got a full-on Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia vibe going on right now. You got, for those who can't see it, for those who aren't watching on TV or on YouTube, you are wearing the full-on cut-off sleeves. You're drinking. You got your tattoo on your shoulder there. You're drinking a Bud Light, but we're gonna let it all slide because you got a pretty sweet hat on. You got.
Oh, thank you.
You got our official show hat.
It was donated to me by Mr. Deuce, so thank you so much.
I thought you were gonna say the homeless person on 4th South, but I've been giving those away. You're the first person we actually know, man. When you see people at the shelter, that's because we just want them to have hats. It's cold
and sunny in the summer too. Yeah, you are the first person in the wild that we've seen wearing the hat. So I wear mine every single day because I rep the show, and James never wears his because I don't know why. Because it's not a fly.
I don't own one.
We have like a whole box here, man.
I don't actually have one. I'm aware. You're supposed to do the marketing, bro. That's your area. That's your branch of expertise.
Well, James, you put in a good decade. I think we can get you a hat, but you got to wear it. I mean, are you going to wear it even though it's not a fly fishing hat?
I don't know, man. I got long hair. I need a thing to put my hair out the back.
That's true. Oh yeah, that's true. These are fitted. That's not really your style. Yeah, you're gonna have to cut your hair.
I'll have to wait. Yeah,
you have to wait. So, but Nate, thanks for coming back on the show, man. This is fun. Usually we do, we get voicemails and emails from you, which we always appreciate, but it's super fun having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
How are you and Becky? Oh, and he had his hat on backwards there for a minute. If you haven't been following this whole saga, Nate gives me a lot of grief because I like to wear my hats backwards. And he thinks that I think your quote was somewhere along the lines of, if you wear your hat backwards, you made some poor life choices.
More or less.
More or less, yeah. So I felt personally attacked on that one. But how are you and Becky holding up quarantine? You guys doing all right?
So far, so good. Hospital technically is fine. Not going to lie, we're running out of supplies on masks and gowns, but luckily we're not as bad as some of the places that you hear about.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Nate is an MRI tech, and so he is right there, ground zero. So thanks for everything you're doing. It's scary right now. I'm glad you're staying safe. Glad Becky's staying safe. You guys are doing good work, man. It's got to be tough every day going up there.
It can be stressful sometimes, but for the most part, I give my tip of the hat to pretty much everyone. Like, not gonna lie, you get delivery drivers, you get grocery store clerks, you get everybody. We're all just kind of doing the same thing. So stay in. I'll appreciate that. That's all I care about.
James and I have the easy job. We just got to stay at home.
I know, right? Everybody just has to stay at home.
It's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You got to stay home. You got to be with your loved ones. And hopefully you have multiple rooms, so if they drive you crazy, you can go there. James is pulling double duty on teacher duty, though.
Hey man, I'm a teacher. I'm a philosopher. I'm a podcaster.
That's true.
Anything more?
That's true. And you are.
AKA I'm broke. I'm broke.
A teacher, a father, a philosopher, and a podcaster. Yeah, that's not the recipe for multimillionaire.
Nope. That definitely drains the bank account in more ways than one.
So I know, Nate, you have not watched The Last Dance. You're saving it. You're going to binge it later.
Yep. Per the wife, she wants to watch it with me. It's shocking. She likes 30 for 30 series, so I figure I'd give her that much. So we'll wait until about episode 7 or 8, and then we'll just crash through it.
Well, I was so excited. Like, I told my daughter, I was like, listen, at 7:00, no matter what, we're turning. This is going on, because that's our era. We came up watching basketball in that era, and Michael Jordan, of course. We all know how that ended. We talked about it last week with Grant Bagby, but it was brutal. It was tough, and here's the thing: when I went into this show and it started, I didn't realize that the whole backdrop was going to be that 1 year. Like, I thought it was going to be totally focused on the entire career of Michael Jordan, and it is, but they really go in depth on that year, and I wasn't ready for that, man, because that was a painful year for me. And James, you saw this. How much are you buying into the whole idea that everyone thought the team was going to break up, and no one was happy? And like, to me, coming up in that time, I didn't buy that at all. Like, to me, I thought, well, it's the Bulls. They're just going to win every championship. There was no chance that team was going to break up.
But they did after this year.
Well, after the year, yeah, when Michael Jordan retired. But how do you do that? Like, if you're Jerry Krause, how do you tell Phil Jackson that you could win every single game? You can go 82-0 and you're still going to get fired.
I likened it to, and I'm pretty disappointed in my Twitter followers. I said that Jerry Krause is the Rachel Phelps from Major League 2 of The Last Dance so far. Like, remember when they bring in the freaking, like, poster of her and she's naked, everyone's.
That was actually Major League 1, by the way.
I think it's 2. I think it's 2, dude. I'm pretty sure it's 2.
I think it might be 1. Because no, it was, because 1 was the R-rated one. Major League 2 was the PG-13 rated one.
Correct. That's why.
That's how I know.
James.
That's how. Yeah, James is Googling right now.
I Googled it before I sent it. I know you're both.
Oh, you did? Okay, so
yeah,
maybe we'll trust you on this one.
Darn it.
But Jerry Krause, I mean, they did do a good job of kind of explaining, like, maybe he wasn't as bad as all the players and the coaching staff said. Because honestly, there was a point, as a short person myself, I was starting to feel bad for him after a while, after Michael Jordan's like giving him all these short digs nonstop.
I don't feel bad for anyone associated with the Chicago Bulls.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, it felt a little like bullying for a minute there.
Well,
wait. Time out. I know this was kind of talked about on the episode of, like, talking about teams and the, like, way that we like certain teams and stuff like that. And so, James, you like the Chicago Blackhawks, right?
I do.
Okay, and I do agree, by the way, that it is one of the greatest jerseys. So I disagree with you, Alan. It is, honestly,
cool.
It is probably the most controversial jerseys, but it's one of the better looking jerseys I can actually attest to.
I'm just gonna warn you, Nate. Like, we're on Zoom. I have the power to mute you. I just want you to know that.
I know.
So you gotta choose your words very wisely.
I know. That's what makes it so hard.
I'm the host of this meeting. I can't remember where we're at. But so James, you weren't buying.
We were talking about Major League and all that kind of stuff.
What was that chick's name in Major League? The owner who wanted him to lose?
Rachel Phelps.
Rachel Phelps. Man.
Yes.
I can see that. I don't think
she's the Jerry Krause Jerry Krause is the Rachel Phelps of The Last Dance. I mean, granted, Jerry Krause drafted Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen and brought Ron Harper over and got Dennis Rodman and moved Phil Jackson, the head coach, from the assistant coach. So, I mean, the way he was portrayed, I hear where you're coming from, might have felt a little like he's not getting what he deserved. But the problem with that is when you piss off the greatest player who ever walked the planet, and his platform can be whatever he wants it to be or chooses it to be, and you're still Jerry Krause wondering when the White Sox and the Bulls are going to be relevant again, you're stuck. What is Jerry Krause going to do? Come out and be like, I mean, it's too late. Damage is done. People of Chicago don't really like Jerry Krause.
Well, the thing about Jerry Krause that I see the criticism is that he did want to be as big as the players. It seemed like it felt like he wanted to be as appreciated as Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And dude, you're the GM. Like, that's not your job, man. Your job is to put the team together and let them go out and win titles and them get all the praise. Like, that's not the gig, man, at all.
I mean, yes and no, though, really. Like, he should get, I mean, just realize
credit for sure. He should get credit, but he shouldn't be a celebrity as big as Michael Jordan.
Well, I don't know that he's asking for that. But, I mean, think about it. You realize Scottie Pippen, and you saw, was drafted by the Sonics. They pulled off one of the best trades ever to get him to the Bulls. He drafted Michael Jordan. He brought Dennis Rodman. He got the Zen Master there. I mean, those are pretty big moves. He allowed Tex Winter, to stay on and run the offense. I mean, when you're a GM, like, sure, this is like head coach, and this is what we talk about, or quarterback. Quarterbacks often get more credit for the win than they deserve, right? But they get all the, pain and suffering when the loss occurs. Well, the same with the GM, except for he's just asking for a little credit. When things aren't going good, everyone says, why hasn't Dennis Lindsay traded Mike Connolly already? Or why hasn't, Jerry Krause traded BJ Armstrong for someone else, right? And so, I mean, I can understand where he's coming from, just from a human perspective. Like, man, I've been sitting on this, getting my ass ate out by everyone in Chicago. I finally do all this amazing draft stuff. I finally pull the trigger and get Phil Jackson to the head seat. Tex Winter remains. We're on epic runs here. I mean, he probably went about it in the wrong way. The way you get a lot of credit for that is by the players liking you, right? In my opinion. So you should develop a good relationship with the coach and players. We talk to the media every day if you want to sort of get that credit. But, I mean, you got to give the dude his due. You put together what is some would say inarguably, others may say arguably, the greatest team that ever walked the face of the earth.
Well, I want to clarify one thing. He did not draft Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Rod Thorne did.
Okay.
But
who went on to be part of the NBA.
Right.
And I get his assistant GM.
I think he was at the time, but so
I apologize. Sorry, Rod Thorne.
And I do have to give some facts on the Major League portion.
You're right. It's episode 1.
Jake Taylor was the one who took over in Major League 2. And so when the whole revealing of Rachel Phelps' body would have been with the original manager. So
you are correct.
That's an underrated sports movie, by the way. Both of those.
It's my favorite.
It's so good.
Really?
Major League is my Kingpin and Major League.
Kingpin.
I don't like.
Jess and I watched Kingpin.
I don't like real serious sports movies because they never do it justice.
It's too cheesy. It's too cheap. Like
exactly.
The one exception that I will give total exception to is Rudy. That can be it is so sappy and so cheesy, but it is, man, it gets me every single time. Just all the crap he put up with.
I mean, I like those movies, but top 3 are like Major League, Caddyshack, and Kingpin.
I like those top 3.
That's a good trio. Kingpin is so funny.
Way underrated.
It's so underrated.
Great.
I finally made Jess watch it, and it's so good. So good.
I'm trying to wait for the right time to watch that during this stay-at-home quarantine. And I need a real good laugh.
Yeah, you need that on one of your worst days. Maybe the 5th day the kids are out of school for summer. Maybe that's what you do.
Yeah. Could be. I'm holding that one in the back pocket for sure.
So James, real quick, what did you think of the first 2 episodes?
I mean, obviously they were well done. Having that kind of access to the greatest player in the world is pretty unprecedented, and whoever had the foresight to sort of make sure, because a lot of the interviews are obviously done afterwards, right? But whoever had the foresight to make sure all these cameras were around and allowed them to be around. I mean, and this is sort of my part with Jerry Krause. Like, he's the GM. He could have shut that down if he didn't want these cameras to be there.
Good point.
I mean, and so could the owner of the team. So while the players are giving him a hard time, I mean, and rightfully so, in my opinion, you also have to give him the credit that he deserves. So he didn't draft Jordan, but he drafted Pippen, brought in Rodman. I mean, these are, I'm not sure that the Bulls win versus the Jazz without Rodman, frankly. I don't think they do.
Nope.
So, and of course, allowing Phil Jackson to sort of come into his own. I know he was coaching in the CBA or whatever and won a couple of titles there. But still, to pull the trigger on a guy who didn't have much NBA experience and put him there with Michael Jordan, who was already on the rise, right? I mean, deserves in and of itself some credit. Be willing to make those kind of moves.
I didn't know this. He was with the Bulls for 18 years. I'm a little shocked by that. I don't remember him after Jordan retired for the second time, and I don't remember ever hearing about him again. So, but for him to put that team together, that's pretty incredible.
Well, and I always get it mixed up. Because isn't Jerry Reinsdorf part of it too? And so there's 2 Jerrys, and I always get them
Reinsdorf, I think is the owner.
Is he? I thought he was like the I don't know. Anyway, I know one of them had a lot to do with USA Basketball and the Dream Team and all that, and I think it was probably Reinsdorf, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he CPA, lawyer, and owner of the NBA Chicago Bulls and Major League Baseball's Chicago White Sox.
There you go.
So,
just curious, what was the trade for Dennis Rodman?
I'm going to look that up right now.
Do either of you remember?
I don't know if there was a trade. Was there?
Because was he just signed as a free agent?
I can't recall, but I know before that he was playing with the Spurs. He didn't come directly from the Pistons. And then he went on to the Lakers, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he went to the Lakers right after. You're right.
So he might have been.
In 95, they got Rodman from the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for Will Perdue.
Will Perdue. Bill Wennington or Will Perdue. Don't forget Bill Cartwright now. Don't forget Bill Cartwright.
There were some, looking at some of these old faces, like Tony Kukoc and
Will Perdue.
Luke Longley. Like, some of these faces just brought back so many nightmares for me.
Didn't they draft both Kukoc and Longley, though?
I think so. I think they did.
So, I mean, he did a pretty good job then in forming the team. But, I mean, if he traded Will Perdue for one of the greatest rebounders and defensemen probably of that time, that's a pretty good still.
It is. Let's see. I'm not sure where Kukoc. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, he was drafted in 93 by Chicago. So, yeah, they drafted Kukoc. Luke Longley.
And he didn't come over until... He played a year without Jordan, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
And so Jordan came back, and Kukoc had already played a year with Pippen, and they were pretty average. I mean, they made the playoffs, if I remember. And then Jordan came back. Tony Kukoc sort of let him down. He was supposed to be – I mean, he wasn't bad by any stretch, but –
he was a shooter.
The word on him coming over, though, was just –
right.
He was your typical European basketball player where – good shooter, just no basketball intelligence.
And soft. That guy didn't play a lick of defense, bro.
No.
That will piss Michael Jordan off more than anything.
Yeah, he would fit right in. You want to
score and don't play defense? That's not going over well with him.
He'd fit in well in today's NBA because there's not much defense, and all you got to do is shoot it. That's it.
He would be lights out right now.
He would be. I mean, he'd be Luka Doncic You know, like it's
Yeah.
he'd be way beyond his skill, I think. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the whole thing was good. It was very entertaining. I don't know how they got, I mean, to get some of the shots they got of some of the locker room discussions and all that stuff going on, I was kind of blown away by it. It's a lot of fun to see. It's a lot of fun to see the story behind everything. I'm just gritting my teeth till the end, because that's going to be when it's brutal. It's going to suck. And I'm not at all ready for that. I hope that they have it like a 2 or 3 episode palate cleanser when Jordan goes to the Wizards, so I can at least, kind of just watch
It's not
myself.
gonna happen, bro.
I know.
It's about the 1 year.
They got to
quit setting yourself up for that.
They got to give an epilogue, man. You have to give an epilogue. So they got to do that.
No, they don't, and they won't. It's the last dance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, man.
I think they'll do it. They'll give an epilogue. It's not going to be like a dedication. They're not going to do they're not going to dedicate 2 or 3 episodes to it. But they'll have an epilogue. They'll show some highlights. He was good when he went to the Wizards. He wasn't Michael Jordan good,
really.
But he was good.
Well, then why would Michael Jordan ever sign off on that?
On what?
Show when I wasn't who the Last Dance made me. Put that in there for sure, guy. He ain't signing off.
Oh, dude, it's part of the story, man. I guarantee they'll have some Wizard stuff in there.
What do you want to bet? Like, how much do you mean? Like they'll say like a little rolling script. And
no. I think it'll be the final 10 minutes, or not the final 10 minutes. It'll be like 10 to 15 minutes before they get everyone reminiscing again, like it was the greatest moment ever and the greatest team ever. Like it'll be leading up to the end. It'll be leading up to the closing out. 10 to 15 minutes of the final episode. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
It's storytelling, man. That's good storytelling. It's how you do it.
There's no better storytelling than winning a title and walking away.
But that's not the end of the story. That's the thing. You have to tell what happened to these characters after the fact. That's how it goes.
It's the end of the Bulls dynasty.
Didn't Scottie Pippen play for Portland after Chicago?
And that was a really good. Go ahead.
Well, no. So, like, you have to remember then you have to tell multiple stories, because you had multiple players on that team who went to different teams. So that's why I think James is right, where it's just going to end with, like, I believe that you'll see something with the lettering of Michael Jordan went to the Wizards and Scottie Pippen went to the Portland Trailblazers, Rodman went to the Lakers, and then that kind of is the summary.
I think that that story with Scottie Pippen going to the Blazers and that 7-game series with the Lakers was so good. I think they have to show that. And if they show that, they can't leave out Jordan. I think they're going to show. Scotty's won't be long either. It'll be 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and they'll talk about that. And then Jordan's will be like a 10-minute thing. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
What's the point of it? None of them.
You got to close out the story, man. Close out the story.
What the story's closed out is it is. They never won another title without each other.
Alan then might be onto something, because then it shows that was the last dance.
I don't think you need to show it. Everyone knows it.
I don't think so. I think you got to show it. I think you got to show it a little bit. At least talk about it. Because Phil Jackson had success with the Lakers. I mean, like, you got to tell these stories of these major characters in the story. I think you go all the way through. Anyway,
but the title is The Last Dance.
Let's talk about another.
Come on.
Let's talk about another great story, though. And this is actually, to me, it's more intriguing than the NFL draft. So we're gonna go here, and that's Gronkowski suddenly coming back out of retirement, getting traded to Tampa Bay to play with Tom Brady. I don't know about you guys, but I figured Gronk would be coming back at some point. I did not expect this. Nate's dropping his phone. This is a serious production here.
This is what you get when you get this guy on.
Yeah. But Nate, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts when you saw? I don't know if you saw the video of Brady and Gronk walking through the airport, I think.
Well, I saw the other video where the conch shell with Brady or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of comical at this point because you're just kind of getting the point where it's almost like what do you call it? It's just like a sideshow. It's just like, okay, we are creating this illusion where people can actually pretend like this is going to be the greatest thing to ever happen. But what are you getting out of this whole spectacle? You're getting a quarterback who is technically the greatest of all time, who technically had a decent year, but definitely down year. And now you're getting a tight end who's coming back who had no showing whatsoever over the last couple of seasons. And it's like, great, you're just going to a city where their defense was getting good, but now you spend all this money to get these two players. So what are you going to get? I don't think it's going to be much. And in fact, I honestly don't even know if we're even going to have like a full season. So who knows if this is going to be a thing.
So if they hit the field, you're not convinced it's going to work?
Oh, no, not even a little bit, because I don't think that people understand the NFL is advancing. So Tom, he has to go against what I mean, 49ers, Kansas City. You now get a couple of other teams who've made a couple of trades to improve their status. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to just all of a sudden take a team who is middle of the road to now a Super Bowl contender because of two players. It's just, I'm not a big believer on it.
What about you, James? You think this is going to blow through the NFC?
Look, I mean, I think they're going to be really good. Like, I think anytime if the offensive line can hold up, and I said this before, I mean, will they be better than the Saints? I don't know. The Saints are pretty good. And I can't remember, they added a wide receiver just this week. My brain will function. It was a really good one. Oh, good. Emmanuel Sanders, who was with the 49ers last year and the Broncos before that, bordering on a Hall of Fame career. And now he's going down there with Michael Thomas and Drew Brees and Taysom Hill and that offense that just puts up prolific numbers. So I don't know if they'll be better than them. What I do know is anytime Gronk and Tom Brady have been together, they don't really miss the playoffs all that much. And whether it's a wild card, most likely, I think, is a wild card. Defense is really good. You got Mike Evans. I mean, think of the last time he had anyone, and I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Mike Evans is on Randy Moss's level at this moment in his career. But what I do know is you can throw it really far and he's going to go get it. And we saw how well that worked for Tom Brady. When in doubt, I'm just going to throw it up to the guy who runs fast and is 6'6". I mean, how many TDs did Randy Moss have that year? Like 15 or something.
Right.
Gronk was on that team, and they still have Goodwin. The real question is, will the running game and the offensive line hold up? Do I know for sure to work? No. But would I ever bet against Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, and Gronkowski to want it to work more than they ever have before? That's a big motivating factor. I mean, look, I think if you're Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, right now, this season is, I don't want to say it's a make it or break it for your career because their careers are obviously already Hall of Fame. But in a way, once you're split apart, this is sort of who was the real person who ran that team. Everyone wants to say it's Belichick. But if Tom Brady comes out and goes 12-4, if we play 16 games, and makes a deep run or wins the Super Bowl, heaven forbid, and Belichick is 6-10, I don't know, man.
But here's the thing. I think this would have been super interesting to see like 5 years ago. But now Brady is getting up there, and I know he's efficient, but he's not Tom Brady of old. Like, he knows how to take a hit, which is super important when you're his age. But to see him in his prime go off to another team, and then to see Belichick kind of do his thing. Like that would be fun. This, I feel like we're going to get slanted results. Like you're not going to get full on prime Tom Brady. It's going to.
Oh, I think you will.
Why though? He's how old is he? 41.
I would have agreed with you, and I think I did agree with you before Rob Gronkowski dropped in to Tampa Bay, parachuted in. He makes all the difference in the world. Whether he's injured or not, dude, in games that matter, that dude shows up.
True.
Whether you like him or not, whether you.
But when was the last time that Gronkowski actually finished the season?
The Super Bowl, when he caught the most important pass of the game. It was thrown before he even turned, and he caught it one-handed as he fell into the ground. And now he's had a year off to recover.
Well, and that's the other thing.
Want to play?
For me, a year off, not having NFL workouts and not getting in, not being in game shape. No matter how hard you try, you can't replicate game shape. That's the one thing I'm not sure. But if the season is delayed, though, I think that helps both Gronk and Brady because. One, Brady, that's going to take some miles off those tires. And then Gronk, obviously, he's going to get more time to work with an NFL team to get back into game shape. So I think if the season's delayed, it's going to definitely help them. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be super fun. I really, really want to see if it's Belichick or Brady who really was the mastermind behind all this. But I just don't think we're going to get skewed results. We really are. Now, if they get Percy Harvin... Like Percy Harvin says he wants to come back. If they somehow got him, then I'm all in on the Bucs then.
What do you mean by skewed? It's sort of unclear to me what that means.
Because Brady's over the hill. He's 42 years old. He's older than Karl Malone was when he retired from basketball, which is a much less physically taxing sport. So for me, a 42-year-old quarterback, no matter how great the arm is, no matter how great the mind is, to me, you're not seeing as sharp as can be. This would have been fun to see Brady 5 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago.
I think I'm thinking Tom Brady just wants to hear all this stuff.
I'm sure he does.
Keep doubting me all the way. So everyone doubted me since they drafted me 199.
So this has been
out there until like 5 years ago.
Here's another interesting question. So is this going to make
to defend Tom Brady?
This
is the worst scenario of my life.
Well, and this brings me to my next point is how many Patriot haters are out there, or were they just Tom Brady haters the entire time? Like Nate, I know you're not even though you've chosen every single hockey team as your team at one point or another. I know you're not a Patriots fan.
And NFL team.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did say that you like to see the Patriots story. So maybe I shouldn't ask you this. But wait, do you like the Patriots?
Like I don't hate them like a lot of people do. So when they were going for the perfect season, as I said in the email that I sent you guys, it was like one of those moments where I was like super pissed when they lost because I was like, why couldn't I see perfection? That would have been really cool to see at this point in my life. And then afterwards, like waiting a couple of years, I was just like, wow, that was actually a cooler story with the team who barely made it into the playoffs, totally ruined the perfect season. But then I was watching the Falcons-Patriots game with my buddy who's a big Patriots fan. And at halftime, we're in Vegas just partying and having a good time, and he's not. So I just tell him, like, hey, man, you just have to get through one score. Just get one score out of the way, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and this game's different. And he wouldn't believe me, and so I just kept saying, you just get one score. And then by the time the game was over, I was obviously cheering for the Patriots to win because it was just like a fun story. I know that's hard to believe, to cheer for the Patriots, but it was just a fun, cool thing to actually experience.
Don't you like the underdog story though? That's more fun to me.
Yeah, that's why I would have if it had been reversed, like if the Falcons would have been down 28-3 at halftime, I would have been saying differently, like, oh man, if only a team could just come back and win in dramatic fashion. But it just so happened to be the Patriots instead.
That makes sense.
Which I know it's hard. It's hard to understand.
I get it. I just, it's the Patriots, so I have a hard time following you. But I can follow your logic. I just can't buy into it.
Yeah, I get it.
But James, now you don't like the Patriots because you're a smart man, and are you? Well, here's the question: Is that feeling going to transfer over to the Bucs?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, look,
I can see it already. You're gonna do the LeBron thing. I can see it already. You're gonna be cheering for Brady this whole season.
First of all, I could never cheer against the Saints. That's
true.
like top 3 towns, and I always pick them. I'll never cheer against the Saints. It doesn't matter who's on. They could bring back Walter Payton, for heaven's sakes, and put him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I wouldn't be cheering for him. So
wait a minute. Wait, this is a big statement from you. We need to clarify. Are you saying that if the Bears brought back Walter Payton, that you would be cheering for?
If the Buccaneers had him.
Okay, gotcha.
If the Bucs somehow got Walter Payton,
but in a head-to-head match between the Bears and the Saints, you're going Bears.
Of course.
Okay, all right.
Of course. I already lived that once, man. We crushed them.
That's true. That's true.
In the playoffs. They can't play in the dome. They can't win playoff games outside the dome. Come up to the Windy City. Yeah, no. It's not going to be a LeBron thing. And I'll resent you even saying that. But
history's on my side, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
What that I like oh man. Why do you go down this road and then complain?
I can't not, man. I can't not. It's too easy.
Well, I mean, it is going to be interesting. I mean, look, we do have a little history here. The only history we don't have is what Brady will be like without Belichick. We do have the history of what Belichick's like without Brady and Matt Castle. You Vikings fans and Texans fans should know that Matt Castle made a grip of money under Tom Brady and then Bill Belichick's tutelage. Now, they didn't make the playoffs that year, but they won like 10 games, right? Which most NFL franchises would love. So, I mean, it is, in all honesty, minus the team you root for, it is definitely the most intriguing storyline heading into the NFL season, any which way you cut it. It won't supersede for me any Bears games or anything like that. But, I mean, I am very intrigued to see how it plays out.
I don't think there is even a second place really for a storyline, at least at this point. I mean, even with the draft coming up and these big name quarterbacks, there's nothing that's going to eclipse this Belichick versus Brady storyline. It's going to be awesome, and that's why. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm interested to see if the Patriots pick up another quarterback. I know you got Stidham. I know you got Brian Hoyer. He can't be that many years younger than Tom Brady.
Right.
I feel like Brian Hoyer's been in the league longer than Tom Brady.
Feels like
he just never plays, so we don't know it. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Patriots pick up Jameis Winston. He's obviously no longer in Tampa Bay. I mean, there's some quarterback options out there where, if you're Bill Belichick with, the ego that he rightfully has because of what he's accomplished in his career, you think, give me Jameis Winston. Sure, he threw 8 INTs for touchdowns last year. I'll cut it to 1 and we'll still win the AFC East. I mean, that's the real, if you're in the AFC East, it feels wide open, but I'm not sure it is. If you're Miami, you're going to have a rookie quarterback or Josh Rosen. If you're the Jets, you have Darnold. You let go of Le'Veon Bell. I don't know why they didn't try to trade him and get some capital for him. And they lost Robbie Anderson. He's no longer on the Jets. So I don't know what they're going to look like, right? And Buffalo obviously was a good team last year. But we'll see. I mean, they picked up Stephon Diggs from the Vikings. And that defense is epic, but still, Josh Allen's got to actually do it. Right. I would guess the money line in Vegas is that they're probably the favorites, the Bills. And we'll see. Just like the Jazz, it's sort of easy to come under the radar and win 10 games, or easier. But when you're third-year quarterback from Wyoming trying to get the Buffalo Bills to beat the 10-time AFC East champions. Pressure, the trigger gets a little harder to pull, maybe.
It's a different story for sure. Real quick, the draft is here. Now, we're recording this on Wednesday, the day before the draft. So we don't have the luxury of knowing who goes first and all that stuff. But let's and we'll do this really, really fast just because people already know what the outcome is. I've heard a lot of talk that some people would take Tua above Joe Burrow. Are you buying into that? James isn't.
No way.
But Tua is more seasoned. Like he's proven it longer. Joe was just a guy until last season. Then he became the best. Like he's so good. But Tua has proven it longer. What about you, Nate?
I agree with James. I don't think you have to remember Tua was on a team that everybody kept saying with anybody at that quarterback position, they would still be top 10 every year. But Joe Burrow, every time that LSU had any type of success, they would say what held them back. It was the quarterback. And now all of a sudden they had a quarterback and he happens to break every quarterback record in the book. And they annihilated everybody in front of him. So that's why I think Joe Burrow over Tua is just hands down my pick. But, I'll probably be proven wrong.
I know. I actually agree with both of you. I just think if Tua hadn't had the injury, I think it'd be closer than we might think. But I mean, it's hard to argue with that season. The season that Joe Burrow had it's nuts. Like it's one of those things that we'll be talking about it 20, 30 years from now. Because it's just one of those amazing, everything comes together seasons for him. So, and he did it with a team. I mean, Ute fans know what this is like when you have a team that's stellar defensively, historically, but can't do anything offensively. And then finally they got it together offensively and they were spectacular. So I agree with you. We'll see what happens.
I mean, for me, I gotta chime in here. For me, it wouldn't even matter if he didn't have that hip injury.
Really?
Yeah.
Nope. I agree with James.
I mean, first of all, he has a prolific injury history, right? The one national title he won was coming in for Jalen Hurts as a freshman.
True.
Junior. Last year, he got hurt in the SEC championship game or the Georgia game, and Jalen Hurts had to come in and save Alabama's hide.
True.
And then lost in the national championship game and didn't even make the playoff this year, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying Tua's bad, but what Tua is extremely injury prone. Is he Russell Wilson? I mean, I'm not going to take that risk. It was someone in the top 10, either the Chargers or the Dolphins probably will. But man, Joe Burrow has shown resilience. I mean, think about it. He was one of the best quarterbacks, went to Ohio State, didn't get a shot, went back, went to LSU, had an all right year last year, nothing spectacular. And then this year just said, I'm laying it all out. And I also sort of like, a lot of people interpret his attitude as arrogant. And for me, I understand and can appreciate where a lot of people come from. But for me, it just seems like a kid who's having fun and doesn't care what anyone thinks except for.
It's a little bit different. This is a little bit different with him. It feels like he's just more having fun. Like we've seen quarterbacks in the past who were super arrogant and hard to stomach. I didn't get that feeling with Joe Burrow.
Well, some have said it, but I mean, to a man, every person who's played with him loves him. And the same is true for Tua, but Tua didn't throw 60 touchdowns last year or ever.
Agreed.
So,
we've had a very good look at Jordan Love over the years. Now, I have heard some rumblings, and we'll do this super fast because we're running short on time, that he could skyrocket all the way up to the first round. What is Nate, we'll start with you. What's your reaction to that?
I think he's good. I just don't think he's first round good. Like a lot of people seem to forget like Justin Herbert and like, I mean, obviously Tua's going to be picked up And then you look at Joe Burrow, he's going to get picked up. And then somebody's going to pick Justin Herbert instead. And how many quarterbacks can you take in the first round?
Right.
And that's what it always comes down to. It's just positions. It's nothing against his talent. It's just how many teams really need a quarterback right now that's a rookie quarterback who's not going to give you a better result than the quarterback that you already have. So that's why I think he's the likely candidate to fall to the second round. And that's not a knock. It's just maybe that's a better situation for him, actually. He might be an Aaron Rodgers who fell to the right team, and now all of a sudden he actually gets to play on a team who is better prepared instead of like, a lot of quarterbacks do where they fall to this really, really bad team, and now all of a sudden they're no longer in the league or they're a backup quarterback for the rest of their career.
What about you, James?
I mean, look, I think he's got a really good skill set, and we saw it last year, not this previous year, but the year before with Utah State. I thought that the Colts would be a good landing spot for him, and had the Colts not gone out and got Phillip Rivers, I would maybe go that route. But when you get Phillip Rivers, you got a 2-year window, man. And you don't go get Phillip Rivers if you're not going to give everything you got for the next 2 years. Plus you have, Brissett behind him, who you signed for 2 more years too. So I don't see him going there anymore. I would be interested to see, and I don't know where the Patriots draft, but man, I think he's going to go late first round, early second. Do the Patriots have a pick? I wouldn't be shocked to see Jordan Love end up in New England. It's down in the late 20s. I mean, you don't know what you got in Stidham. You got Brian Hoyer. You don't make the move for Jameis Winston. And you're sort of just going to, give this year the best shot you can have without Tom Brady and the players on your team. Now's the time for them to pick. If Jordan Love drops to your hands at, what are they, 28 or something like that, or maybe even higher now, because they got out, in the divisional round. So maybe they're like 24. But I could see him going there. If not, I mean, the question to me has always been, and it's funny how draft works and football psychology, as I like to call it, works. I mean, Jordan Love's a good quarterback, but I'm not sure he's any better than Jalen Hurts.
I agree.
All Jalen Hurts does is go everywhere and win.
Right.
Maybe his passing numbers aren't out of this world gaudy, but the one thing you can't deny is the dude wins. He does whatever it takes to win.
Is he better than Jacob Eason? I don't think so.
That's the thing, is just there's so many quarterbacks in this draft that nobody talks about.
Right. And I don't want to knock Jordan Love, but his senior season was less than spectacular. Like they were promoting him, as a Heisman candidate, as they should. And it did not pan out well. I mean, I think he had as many interceptions as he did touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure what these scouts are seeing that we're not seeing. They're privy to a lot more information, obviously, but from what I've seen on the field, I'm not convinced. If you would have asked me after the junior year, I would say maybe. But I mean, from what I've seen on the field, I'm just not seeing him in the top 2. But
it might work out in his favor because, like I said, it's just one of those things where, okay, you might have gone a little bit higher. You might have gone 16th, 17th pick, but maybe you were a team that wasn't going to do much.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they're drafting another quarterback the following year because you didn't do enough for them. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to go find somebody else.
Right.
But now maybe he goes, say, to the Patriots, and now all of a sudden you have a year or two under a Belichick system with maybe a more seasonal quarterback. You might actually become the next thing in the quarterback industry or the NFL.
Yeah,
that's what's kind of cool about going a little bit later. Sometimes, like Alex Smith, everybody still does the comparison contrast about Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers, he had Brett Favre to learn under for like a year and then became the quarterback.
Yep, true.
Alex Smith went to the worst team with the worst offensive line, no running back, no wide receivers, and look at what happened. A lot of people then put him under the bus and said, okay, he was a bust. So
yeah,
there you go.
And you make an interesting point there, if I may interject with Jacob Eason. I just looked up. The Patriots are drafting 23rd. I don't know if they'll go that route with Jordan Love or even a quarterback. Their team needs a lot. They've lost a lot. But just so you do know, and you probably already know this, is Jacob Eason's dad used to be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots.
No, that's great.
Maybe the family reunites in Foxborough, Massachusetts. He was back in the day when they had the dude snapping the ball on the helmet. I think like 85 to 91 or something.
That almost seems like a thing that Belichick would go away from Eason just cause he's an ass.
Just for that.
Just because. Real quick, and we were like almost out of time. We got 6 minutes left. Real quick, one word answer. Nate, we'll start with you. Jordan Love's draft position, the over-under is at 16.5. Over or under?
Over.
Over. You think he'll be picked before 16 or 16?
Oh no, sorry, under.
Under. What about you, James?
I don't think he's going in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that.
16. Let me see. I mean, you got 3. Who is the Panthers quarterback?
I don't know.
This guy, Cam Newton.
I think there are a couple of teams who are going to try to tank their seasons, just like the NBA, to go after Trevor Lawrence. That's my prediction.
I'll go under.
Because they have enough revenue that they can pull something stupid like that off.
I mean, yeah, but that's always a risk. What if he gets hurt like Tua?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, Tua, look at him. He's about to get in the top 15, and he's got a broken hip.
Right.
Like, what if Trevor Lawrence breaks something? I mean, how many, draft picks have sat out an entire year because they were injured? Like Clowney, and I'm sure there's other. But
I mean, 16, just think of these teams, though. We're talking Dolphins, Chargers, Panthers, Jags. They got rid of Nick Foles. Raiders, Broncos, Falcons. I mean, the Falcons got to be considering that Matt Ryan's near the end, most likely. I mean, I don't know how some of these GMs think. I'll go under just because he's a quarterback. And quarterback, I wouldn't do it if it were me. But sometimes quarterbacks get the benefit of the doubt in the draft room on draft day, especially when it's virtual.
Well, he's also kind of the flavor of the month quarterback. I mean, no offense to Jordan Love, that's where the NFL wants to go now.
And I mean, you see these NFL commercials, he's on them. I'm almost assuming he has to be. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was supposed to go high, and he went 24th? That's like one of the most painful green room scenarios ever. I mean, they're sending him cameras and all that stuff to set up his house as if he's going to be a first rounder.
But that was but Brett Favre was kind of, I mean, to give the example of that time period, there were a lot better quarterbacks in those years when Alex and Aaron Rodgers went. So that's one of the things, right? Like right now, we're only focusing as NFL teams. They want to find the hottest pick, and a lot of it is the quarterback. But back then, it was what do we need for our team? We already got a quarterback who's kind of good. Now we're just going to add to it. Now we're just trying to figure out what's the sexiest pick. It kind of seems like.
More and more I look over it, I think he's going to go in the first round. Just because of what you said. I mean, if you have Brett Favre and you're drafting freaking Aaron Rodgers, that's, I come from the land where Rex Grossman took us to our last Super Bowl. So that's that's unimaginable. It's unimaginable to me that you have Brett Favre and draft another quarterback, but they did, and it was smart, and it was the right move, right? So I mean, if you're the Falcons sitting at 15 or 16, and Jordan Love's still there, and Matt Ryan's played in the league for 12 years, you don't want to pay him big money. Time to start over. Same with the Raiders, you know? I mean, you can't tell me John Gruden's not apt to do something weird sitting there at 19. You know, whatever, Jordan Love, that dude can play. I love him.
You could say that about a lot of teams right now. You could say that about the Lions. you could say that about pretty much anybody right now.
I mean, the Dolphins are the most interesting team in the first round, right? They have the 5th and the 26th pick. And what if they don't go with Tua at 5 and they're just hoping Jordan Love falls to them at 26? You know, what if they do something?
They've got the 18th pick too.
Yeah, there you go. 3 picks. I mean, if I'm them, maybe I don't go to 5 or 6. I get an offensive lineman, and then I get my quarterback, and then I get my receiver. You know, it's so hard to tell because we don't have the intel, and I don't know everyone's roster that well until they're actually playing on Sunday. I was going to go under, and the problem is some of the teams that I think have the right to pick him will be over from 16 to 32.
I'm going under. I'm going under. And I hope for him, I hope for Aggie fans that we're wrong, that he goes higher. But from what I've seen, I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. That senior year was pretty brutal. We got a minute left. Let's do this. I do want to do the would you rather type of thing. What we were going to do is we were going to talk championships, like what teams would we rather win championships. So we'll do that after we run out of time. And you can listen, if you are interested in that, you can listen to it over at doganddeuce.com or wherever you get your podcasts. But in the last minute we have, what do you think of this remote draft that they're going to do? James, you were saying some stuff off mic that you thought would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not as worried about it, the rest of the world, as they're doing it. I mean, to push the draft back since they're doing it virtually doesn't make sense. And they have the technology to pull it off. You know, I'm just hoping for, like, I don't know. Let's see. Pick number 8, whoever that is. I'm hoping for the Browns GM kid to come in when they draft some random dude and just be like, what are you doing? Baker needs more offensive lines, like, you know, or a dog peeing on a tree, or I don't know, like just anything super random.
What about siblings fighting in the background very loudly?
Yeah, this is prime time. I mean,
lots of bad language too.
Yeah.
And violence.
I mean, I am interested to see what Roger Goodell's house looks like, how they have it, you know, set up. And I guess you can boo them on Twitter and all the money will be donated for each boo, because that's a big thing. You know, they always boo the commissioner. So I'll participate in that. I'm all in for donations to charity where I can only just type. I don't actually have to give my own money. That's easy. So let's all do that.
I'm down, man. I'll boo him all day long. He's terrible. He is terrible. I'm just waiting to see how he's going to screw this thing up, because he will. There's no doubt he will. Let's talk about this, though. I want to do the would you rather thing. So, Nate, this is your idea. I kind of like it. Did you have any specific would you rathers you wanted to throw at us?
No specific. It was just mainly like you have to think about all your best teams that you actually cheer for, and then you have to just go all in.
Okay.
What championship team do you want?
All right, I'm going to start with you, Nate.